everybody, welcome back to Mel's Board Game Room for another video of Show Me Your Shelfie. And today I have Solomon from the D6 Tabletop Cafe. Now, Solomon, I see that you have Toast there with you.
I do. I can't be anywhere without him. I need him
He's
always
kind
by
of
my side.
the mascot of the cafe, isn't he?
He is. He's our little lovable bread guy. He's kind of my gaming partner.
Nice. Then I've seen him at FallCon. He just follows you around.
He's always got a bright smile on his face. He loves seeing people play games and stuff. So, I could not have him here.
No, it wouldn't be right if he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Now, how long has D6 been open for now?
Well, D6 has been open for almost 4 years now. It's
Wow.
been a lot of fun. It's been very cool showing people a bunch of games and stuff. It's grown a lot, and I'm just always excited to see people play. It's kind of a joy.
I was in a couple of weeks ago, and it was a full house. It was great to see.
Whew, yeah, it can get a little packed, but we make do. We try to fit as many people as possible, and that's just kind of the joy of it,
Yeah. So this is a bit of a different for the Show Me Your Shelfie because we're going to be showing the D6 Tabletop Cafe's game library. Before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit more about the cafe? Like, how does it work? What's available?
Yeah, just a little bit about us. We're a board game cafe, so a lot of my own personal games in the library have just kind of been like added and grown over time. And it was kind of my brother and my passion to show people board games and just kind of help people find the game that they want to play and fall in love with. Because there's just so many games now these days that it's hard to find one that's like to break free from your comfort zone.
Right.
So, we do a flat fee just for you to stay and play as long as you want. And that way you can just try this, try that, and really, dive into something new without needing to commit to something.
Yeah. And you have coffee, food.
Yeah. I guess I should talk about that. We do coffees and teas and pastries and desserts done by local bakers in the city. We've kind of got some newer items on the menu now. So we've upgraded to quiches and pineapple and honey buns. So we love to
that
keep
sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's super good.
Nice.
The stuff we like to stock are kind of the things that you will eat while you're hanging out at a friend's place. We don't do the fancy stuff, but we definitely do stuff that's comfort.
Right. And what are the hours for D6?
Yeah, for hours, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. For weekdays, we usually wrap up at about 10 o'clock, but we're open for games at 11. And then for Fridays, Saturdays, we're open a little bit later till 11, just so that, you can get that late night gaming in. Yeah. And then on Sundays, because I'm a little bit of a night owl, we open at noon. But, just you come in after doing whatever you need to do in the morning and stay and play.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. All right. So let's get started with the tour. Mm-hmm. Show us around. Show us what's in the collection.
Of course. So right now I'm in the family/casual section, plus our common games section that we've kind of had to just like create as a new kind of thing. These are the games that like most people gravitate towards. Your Settlers of Catan and all that stuff. Like this is what everyone always plays all the time. And then kind of expanding out this way, we've got 2-player games kind of in the middle section. So we have a lot of like date night stuff like that. So we want to create a section that like caters to people that are just coming out to, play a quick game and whatnot. Kind of coffee games is kind of how I describe it. And then these are all games that are like really easy to hop into, a couple you may recognize. And of course, as we're a family-friendly place, our lowest shelf down here are all games designed for like younger audiences and stuff like that. So start them early, get them in some really good stuff. So that's just the casual wall. But I've got some more on the back side. So I'm just gonna kind of hover over. You kind of get a little bit of a glimpse of like the cafe and everything.
While you're walking, I want to point out the tables. Now, you've been on our channel before. These tables were custom designed specifically with board gaming in mind.
Yes. So my brother and I, when we were opening the place, we spent a lot of time setting up a lot of our own board games ourselves. And then we were like opening them, setting it up with a drink and a sandwich, and looking at the average size of all the games. And then we custom built tables to accommodate for the average setup. So
Nice.
they are designed for games.
Yeah, I like the attention to details, and that's how we try it.
It's the small things that matter, and my
Yeah,
brother and I are definitely attention detailed.
nice. All right, show us what's behind you there.
Totally. So this section here, we had to create one that's a party section. So this is all like the party kind of voting style games. You've got like games like code names or like ransom notes, but also stuff like cash and guns, which is also a really great one that I always
Nice, love
recommend.
it.
We created a little bit of a library guide just to kind of help out because there's just a lot to choose. We've got about 950 games now. So always have to let people know, hey, you know, this is about how long it'll take you to play certain games or what you can expect. And of course, little toast at the bottom because I can't not have him. But moving along this way, we kind of divided our shelves into multiple sections.
Right.
This section kind of right here is like competitive stuff. So games that you're fighting against each other and kind of scoring victory points, that type of stuff. Moving to the middle area, which is our cooperative section. So like this is all like cooperative games. I think a lot of people don't have the chance to try a lot of cooperative stuff because it's kind of like most people gravitate towards competitive, but you know, introducing people into cooperative is kind of like my way I got into board games. And then finally, strategy, which is this last section here. Of course, having my favorite game of all time, which I have to talk about every single time, at the top there. Yeah.
Does it get played a lot at the cafe?
It does. I actually find myself teaching Arc Nova quite often.
Nice.
Because a lot of people want to like, oh, I want something hard. I want to try something new. And I love teaching it every single time.
How
just
long of a teach is it?
It varies between like players.
Yeah.
Some players usually take about 45 minutes or something like that to you know, get the rules, and then like you kind of have to reference the rules constantly. So I'm usually there to kind of help and teach and guide. And we offer that too for a lot of the people. For if any of my staff know the games, they're more than happy to like, you know, take a moment if we're not too busy to help you learn something new.
Nice. So your collection then is kind of mostly organized by the player in mind, I guess, you know, your co-op, your strategy, your family, 2 players, and so on. That's really cool. Tell us about the shelf. Were those custom made as well?
They were. So my brother and I also measured alongside opening games. We measured the average size of the games as well. So it's a little bit different than like my own shelves that I have at home for a couple of my personal ones that don't actually make it up to the wall.
Right.
But yeah, these ones are designed to accommodate longer games or even just like thicker games. And we can get a bunch of boxes all slotted in without it, you know, not feeling too tight. They had to be built in a way that games could be taken out really easily without having to like squish them in. So even just a little bit extra on each side adds that little bit of like, oh, I can grab a game comfortably out without it pulling everything off the shelf.
Everything off, yes.
Yeah.
Now, all your games are stored vertically. Any challenges with that?
There is. You know, a lot of the sides of the boxes, some of it doesn't really explain like all the player counts and stuff like that because it's just the name of the game. I'm gonna call it Ticket to Ride. It has the name, but it doesn't tell anybody like how many players it is until I rotate the box, which does, you know, it poses a small challenge, but not too big of one.
Right. I guess certainly like for somebody who's perusing and haven't seen these games before. Now you also have private rooms at D6.
We do. We have 3 of them with a couple of custom built tables. We have a lot of groups that do Dungeons and Dragons at the cafe. So we get usual regular groups that come on Saturdays and whatnot. And they kind of fill up the room. They have it for about 4 hours. It's got custom built D&D tables. Oh, there we go.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah. We had them custom built. And yeah, it's $30 for the room, and then you can bring your own games to play. And then there's also another like table charge as well per player. But you know, you get it a pretty cozy room with what I told our designers when we were building it. It's got to have what we call dungeon lighting, which is just lighting
fun.
on the table. They were very confused when I told them the concept of it has to feel like you're playing in someone's basement. And they're like, I don't know why you
So why would you want that?
Yeah, I'm like, trust me, it's got to feel like a basement. But yeah, this is our other room as well. It's got the dungeon lighting on right now. It's the boat room. So we've got some slats and stuff. Yeah, this is your more traditional D&D table.
Right. Wonderful. So how, like you're saying, you're over a little over 900 games now.
Yeah.
How do you manage the collection being like for a cafe?
Well, we do a lot of, on our quieter times, we do a little bit of, this is going to sound very boring, but we do some board game audits from time to time where we just kind of go over games that aren't really played very much. And then we just kind of exile them off the wall, or we shift them down to, actually, I'll just show this half wall down here.
I've never noticed the half wall.
Yeah, it's a little bit hidden when you're overwhelmed by the large wall. But the half wall kind of just is our miscellaneous games that that aren't played very much, but we do have some guests that like, oh, I'm looking for this specific game. I remember playing it before. That's how we know it's down there. That way we can always try to feature newer stuff or things that we're getting in that are new on the main wall.
How often are games kind of moved out?
That's a good question. I don't know, every 3 months or so. There's always something new coming in, so we kind of get them in bulk, and then we kind of just shuffle them as necessary. It's a little bit hard to manage from time to time, but we do have an Excel sheet that's like everything is all logged in there. So
nice.
But that's a lot of hours of time. But
and how do you decide what you bring in the collection?
For some games, it's usually based on popularity. So if we know that something is kind of taking off or whatever is kind of making waves in the board game scene, we definitely pull those in. But our main focus when we're getting games in are for players that are new to board games in general. So really quick games or games that like don't involve a lot of heavy thinking or a lot of like rules engagement. Just because we want people to actually have the time to play the games while they're visiting, rather than spending the whole time just like reading rules and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm just shifting over back to our front library because I think we just recently got it was a new Lord of the Rings. There it is, the Duel for Middle Earth. So like this is another one that like
nice
popular title that we just kind of want to get on the wall so people can see and try and whatnot.
Yeah, that one was a fun one for sure. Cool. Like it's a little bit different because my questions that I have a list of questions, but it's normally for people's personal collection. Now, granted, a lot of your personal games are in this library as well.
Yes.
So how do you manage what you keep at home, what you have at the store?
Well, some of our personal games we kind of keep hidden in the back rooms in my own personal office. If I know you well enough, I can bring those out and let you play them. But those are reserved for very, very special guests. But most of the time I either just bring them home, or if I have a chance, I do some what we like to call business meetings with the staff. So the staff get a chance to play some games and whatnot.
Now, what is because normally I always ask, what's the challenge you have with organizing your game? And this is even more so for you guys because you have all sorts of people pulling games down and around. Like, how do you keep your collection organized?
Yeah. Good question. We do our best to have our guests return games to little return shelves that we have at the cafe. I don't know if you saw a couple. This is like one example of like a return shelf that people can return games to. But a lot of the guests sometimes they're like, oh, I think I remember it was there. And then they kind of just slot it back where they think it was. Which, we appreciate like actually putting it away for us. That's really sweet. But I still have to take the time to go over the games, make sure all the pieces are together and all that. But yeah, for the games themselves, like I said, we have them in their categories. And while they may not be like exact categories, because competitive and strategy are a bit similar in their
Close, sure.
theming, but we just kind of designate one over the other. And then what we do is we have little stickers on the games based on the difficulty. And then we have a little code system that we've written on there that like, oh, this goes on family side, stage C or
Nice.
shelf C, section 3. Like that's like for our own internals.
Oh my God. You know what's ridiculous is I'm considering doing this. And it's my own personal collection.
You've got a really great collection, so you don't
yeah.
want games to just get like lost into the void
Exactly.
of games. So yeah, it's. I never thought I would need to do it, but ever since I have done it, it's been great. I love it a lot.
Nice. And what are some organizational tips you would share with somebody for their board game collection?
Yeah. It really depends on what you're focusing on. If you like hosting games for people, one of the biggest things I've learned from encountering a lot of guests that like never play games before or are learning how to get into games is usually I like to, the first question I usually like to ask is, do you want to be competitive or cooperative? And that's one of the best ways to sort your library. Like and then the other one being like kind of party games, like games that that you can just kind of chat and you're not like dialed in and playing.
Right.
And then the last thing would be number of players would be like the best way to kind of organize your library. Because some games are like only 2 players. Some are, can go up to 6. That way, if you're hosting a party with some friends, you're not going to be grabbing from this side of the shelf.
Right.
You'll be grabbing from that side.
Yeah, no, that's great. Those are great tips. So before we call it quits here, where are you guys located? If somebody wants to be able to go and visit the D6 Tabletop Cafe.
Yeah. Of course. We're at 2323 32nd Avenue Northeast, Unit 112.
In Calgary.
In Calgary, Alberta. Yeah. And yeah, we'd love to have you in. If you ever want to book a table or book one of the private rooms, you can always do so through our website at d6tabletopcafe.com and fire off reservation. We'll do our best to get you a table. It does get pretty packed on weekends. So try to book a table if possible.
Right. So ahead of time if you can.
Totally.
Wonderful.
Totally.
Well, Solomon, thank you so much for showing me your collection.
My pleasure.
And kind of in more details like that. I love the D6 space. It's so bright and inviting and amazing. And if you haven't had the chance to check it out, be sure to do so. So thanks so much for tuning in. Bye, everybody.
See you guys.